Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when we look in the mirror, not to fix our hair, not to adjust our clothes, but to ask ourselves, am I proud of who I am becoming? And sometimes the answer is not easy. Bad habits. They don't start big, they begin in silence. A late morning here, a skipped promise there, one lie, one excuse. Slowly they grow roots deep inside us, and before we know it, we carry them like invisible chains, wondering why life feels heavy. But let me tell you something very important: you are not your bad habits. You are the power that can change them. We often believe that change begins with action, but before action, there is something more powerful: acceptance. Accepting your bad habit is not the same as liking it or approving of it. It simply means acknowledging its presence without running away, without hiding, and without lying to yourself. It means saying to yourself with honesty, yes, I have this habit. It is here. And I know it needs to change. Many people spend years trapped in a cycle of denial. They pretend the habit doesn't exist or convince themselves that it's not serious. They say, it's just who I am, or it's not that bad. This denial becomes a wall that blocks any possibility of transformation. If you cannot see what's broken, how can you begin to fix it? So the first real step is to become fully aware of the habit. Not with anger, not with shame, but with clarity. Understanding the habit is also a part of acceptance. You must ask yourself, where did this habit come from? What triggers it? What need does it try to fulfill? Every bad habit has a reason behind it. Maybe it started as a way to cope with stress. Maybe it became a part of your routine when you were feeling lonely or afraid. Maybe it was something you picked up from the people around you. The goal is not to blame yourself or others, but to gently uncover the truth behind the behavior. This is how we begin to take power back. By understanding the root, not just fighting the surface. When you accept your habit, you also remove its power to control you in secret. You bring it into the light. You can now observe it without judgment. You begin to notice when it shows up. When you're tired, when you're stressed, when you feel unworthy. This level of self-awareness is where change starts to grow. You can't overcome something if you pretend it's not there. But the moment you say, yes, this is real, you begin to loosen its grip. Many people are harsh with themselves when they recognize a bad habit. They say, I'm weak, or I'll never change. But this kind of thinking only deepens the problem. Acceptance is not about criticizing yourself, it's about understanding yourself. It's about saying, I did the best I could with what I knew. But now I know better, and I want to do better. Accepting your bad habit is also an act of courage. It means you are strong enough to look at your flaws without fear. It means you trust yourself enough to believe that you can rise above them. Some people spend their whole lives running from the truth. But you are choosing to face it, and that is powerful. Change will come, but first accept where you are. Accept the habit, understand its reason, and believe that you are not stuck. This is the beginning of freedom. When we try to change ourselves, our first instinct is often to stop doing what's wrong. We say, I will quit smoking, or I will stop wasting time. But the truth is, just removing a bad habit is not enough. The mind does not like empty space. When we take something out, we must put something else in. If we don't, the old habit finds its way back, because nothing meaningful has replaced it. The key to lasting change is not just removing the negative behavior, but replacing it with something positive, something that serves a purpose. Every habit, good or bad, exists for a reason. It is either fulfilling a need, offering comfort, or giving the illusion of relief. If you take that away and offer nothing in return, your mind and body will return to what feels familiar, even if it's harmful. This is why so many people fall back into the same patterns again and again. The space left behind becomes a trigger for the old behavior to return. To truly overcome a bad habit, we need to first understand what it was doing for us. Was it helping you escape stress? Was it a way to feel in control? Was it simply a distraction from pain or boredom? Once you understand that, you can begin to choose a healthier way to meet that need. For example, if stress made you turn to unhealthy food, maybe you can replace that moment with a walk, deep breathing, or journaling. If boredom made you scroll endlessly on your phone, maybe you can pick up a small hobby or a book to fill that time with purpose. Replacing a habit is not just about avoiding the bad, it's about choosing the good. And choosing the good takes effort at first. The old habit feels natural, automatic. The new one feels strange, uncomfortable. But if you keep choosing it day by day, it begins to grow roots. It begins to feel normal. And one day it becomes part of who you are. It's also important to make the replacement meaningful. Don't just choose anything for the sake of distraction. Choose something that adds value to your life, something that brings peace, energy, or growth. Let the new habit inspire you, not just occupy you. When the replacement is strong, the old habit has less power to return. This approach also builds confidence. When you focus only on stopping something, you feel restricted. But when you replace it with something better, you feel empowered. You begin to see yourself as someone who is not just avoiding the past, but actively building a better future. So the question is not just, what do I want to stop doing? The better question is, what do I want to start doing instead? And when you answer that with honesty and heart, you take a real step forward, not just away from who you were, but toward who you are meant to be. When people talk about changing their lives, they often look for big moments, sudden breakthroughs, major decisions, dramatic actions. But real change rarely happens in a single moment. Real change is built through consistency. It's the quiet, everyday choices that shape who we become. It's the decision to show up again and again, even when we don't feel like it. That is the true strength behind transformation. Being consistent means doing what needs to be done, not just when it's easy or exciting, but especially when it's boring, uncomfortable, or difficult. It's waking up early not just on Monday, but on every day that matters. It's choosing discipline over distraction, one day at a time. Most people fail to change their habits not because they don't try, but because they don't keep trying. They give up too soon, they expect fast results. And when progress feels slow, they stop. But growth takes time. And time rewards those who stay consistent. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with consistency is because they chase perfection. They think if they can't do it perfectly, there's no point in doing it at all. But that mindset is dangerous. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Even small efforts, done regularly, bring powerful results. 10 minutes a day of focus is better than 2 hours once a month. One healthy meal a day is better than one perfect week followed by a month of giving up. Consistency is not about being extreme. It's about being steady. Overcoming inconsistency starts with setting realistic expectations. Don't try to change everything overnight. Start small, start manageable. Build a rhythm. Let it become a part of your routine. And most importantly, stay patient. The results will come not overnight, but over time. Every day you stay on track, you are building trust with yourself. You are proving to your mind that you are serious, that you can be relied upon. That trust is the foundation of lasting change. Another way to stay consistent is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. If your only goal is to lose weight, write a book, or break an addiction, then you might feel discouraged when progress feels slow. But if your focus is on the daily practice, eating healthy, writing a page, staying sober for one more day, then every day becomes a victory, every effort counts, and every small step forward brings momentum. Also remember, consistency does not mean never falling. It means coming back after every fall. You may miss a day, you may mess up, but that doesn't erase your progress. What matters is how quickly you return. What matters is that you don't give up completely. Progress is not a straight line. It's full of ups and downs, but those who keep walking eventually reach their goal. Consistency may not be loud or glamorous, but it is powerful. It is the quiet courage to keep going, even when no one is watching. It's the choice to show up for yourself, day after day, until change becomes reality. When we start the journey of change, we often carry a strong desire to be perfect. We want to leave all our bad habits behind and never look back. We dream of becoming someone new, someone stronger, someone better. But the truth is, no path to growth is ever without struggle. No journey of transformation is complete without mistakes. There will be moments when you fall, When you slip back into the very habits you promised yourself you would leave behind. And when that happens, the most important thing you can do is forgive yourself. Forgiveness is not about forgetting what happened. It is about choosing to move forward without carrying the heavy weight of shame. Many people fall once and stay down, not because they cannot rise, but because they believe they don't deserve to. They carry guilt like a burden, repeating to themselves, I failed again. I am weak. I can't change. This kind of thinking is more dangerous than the fall itself. The mistake doesn't destroy you. What destroys you is believing that you are the mistake. When you fall, your first reaction might be to feel disappointed in yourself. That's okay. That's human. But what you do next matters more than how you feel in that moment. Instead of punishing yourself, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, why did I fall? What triggered me? What was I feeling? Understanding your fall is the first step toward rising again. Maybe you were tired, stressed, lonely, or overwhelmed. Maybe you were expecting too much of yourself too soon. Whatever the reason, try to look at it with compassion, not criticism. Forgiveness is an act of strength, not weakness. It takes courage to admit a mistake. It takes even more courage to give yourself the grace to try again. People who forgive themselves are not making excuses. They are making space to grow. When you forgive yourself, you're not saying, what I did was okay. You're saying, I am not defined by what I did. I am still learning. I am still worthy of another chance. Self-forgiveness also builds resilience. If you believe that one fall means the end of your journey, you will never find the strength to go further. But if you learn to see each fall as a lesson, you become stronger. Every time you fall and rise again, you are proving something powerful to yourself, that you are not here to be perfect. You are here to keep moving forward. Another important thing to understand is that healing is not a straight road. There will be ups and downs. Some days will feel easy, some will feel impossible. You might go weeks doing well, and then suddenly find yourself back at square one. That's not failure. That's being human. Real change takes time, and time includes both progress and setbacks. What matters is that you don't stay in the setback. Forgive yourself, learn from it, and return to the path. Many people hold on to guilt because they think it keeps them responsible. But guilt, when held too long, becomes poison. It eats away at your confidence. It makes you feel small. It whispers that you are unworthy of good things. But responsibility and guilt are not the same. You can take responsibility without punishing yourself. You can say, yes, I made a mistake. And yes, I am still committed to changing. That is maturity. That is growth. Sometimes we find it easier to forgive others than to forgive ourselves. We give others second chances, but we withhold that same kindness from our own hearts. Why? Because deep down we fear we are not good enough. But if you can find compassion for a friend who is struggling, you can offer that same compassion to yourself. You are not your worst moment. You are not your lowest day. You are the effort you continue to make, even after you fall. It also helps to speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. Imagine your younger sibling, your best friend, or your child made a mistake. Would you call them a failure? Would you tell them to give up? Or would you gently remind them that one mistake doesn't erase all their progress? Speak to yourself with that same voice. Give yourself the same kindness, because you deserve it too. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting the lesson. It means carrying the lesson, not the shame. Learn from your fall. Adjust your approach. Maybe you need better boundaries. Maybe you need more rest. Maybe you need support from someone who understands. Whatever it is, let the mistake teach you, not break you. You are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. You can hold pride in your progress and still admit your struggles. You can fall and still be worthy of rising again. Every time you choose to forgive yourself, you take back your power. You choose healing over punishment. You choose hope over regret. And that choice creates a future that is stronger, wiser, and filled with grace. So the next time you fall, don't say, I've failed. Say, I've paused. But I will continue. Because you can. Because you must. And because the most beautiful stories are not the ones where everything goes perfectly, but the ones where people fall, and fall, and rise again and again, until they become the person they were always meant to be. Change begins in the mind long before it shows in the world. One of the most powerful steps in transforming your life is learning to visualize the better version of yourself. This means creating a clear picture in your heart and mind of the person you want to become, the one who is free from the habits that hold you back, the one who lives with purpose, peace, and strength. When you can see it, you can begin to believe it. And when you believe it, you start to live it. Many people stay stuck in their old patterns because they keep replaying the same image of who they think they are. They say things like, I'm always like this, or I can't change, or this is just who I am. But that is not true. You are not fixed. You are not finished. You are in progress. You are always becoming. And what you focus on, you move towards. If you constantly focus on your failures, your doubts, and your fears, they grow stronger. But if you shift your focus to the person you want to become, you start feeding your potential instead of your problems. Visualization is not about dreaming without action. It is about reminding yourself daily of your goal, so that every action you take moves you closer to that vision. When you picture your better self, calm, confident, healthy, focused, you create a map in your mind. Your brain starts to search for ways to make that image real. You begin to align your habits, your decisions, and your energy with the direction of growth. Sometimes, people struggle to visualize because they have been carrying the weight of failure for too long. They find it hard to believe that something better is possible for them. But the beautiful truth is, your future is not tied to your past. You can start now, today, to write a different story. Close your eyes and imagine, what does the best version of you look like? How do they speak? How do they handle pressure? What do they do in the quiet moments when no one is watching? The more detailed your vision is, the more real it becomes to your mind, and the more motivated you become to step into it. Visualizing your better self also helps during moments of weakness. When you feel the urge to give up, when the bad habit calls you back, pause and return to your vision. Ask yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? That question alone can guide you toward better choices, even in difficult situations. You don't need to be perfect today, but each choice you make in alignment with that vision brings you one step closer to becoming it. Change is not just about letting go of what's wrong, it's about reaching for what's right. And when you keep the image of your better self alive in your heart, you give yourself a reason to rise, a purpose to fight, and a future to build. We all have dreams of becoming better. We think about changing our habits, improving our lives, becoming stronger, healthier, wiser. But too often we wait. We wait for the perfect moment, the right mood, the ideal conditions. We say, I'll start tomorrow, or maybe next week, or when I'm ready. But here's the truth, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. And the most important step you can take in your journey of change is the very first one. Right now, right here. Taking the first step is often the hardest part, not because we don't know what to do, but because fear holds us back. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort, fear of not being good enough. The mind creates all kinds of excuses to stay where it feels safe. Even if that place is painful, it's familiar. And the unfamiliar, even when it leads to a better life, can feel frightening. But growth does not happen in comfort. It happens when you step into the unknown with courage. Even if your voice shakes and your feet are unsteady. We wait because we believe we need to feel confident first.